Hi everybody, salam. Welcome back to my channel. I apologize for my long absence. Summers are usually very busy for me, so it's hard for me to find time to make new lessons. But I have a new lesson for you guys, a new video. So in this lesson, we are going to learn about time expressions used in Persian. Alright, so here is a picture of me, and here where I make my Farsi lessons for you guys. All right, so what we will learn in this lesson, we're just going to go over some important time expressions used in Persian. And in this lesson, I'm not teaching any new grammar, and also there's no like examples to make sentences. It's just this, the purpose of this lesson is to make you guys familiar with very common time expressions. Next lesson, we are going to go over prepositions of time in Farsi. That's why you need to be a little bit prepared for that lesson. So this lesson is going to introduce you with very important and common time vocab, which you can use in the next lesson. First, we are going to go over some time vocabulary and time expressions. Most of these vocab, they're just memorization. So you just need to memorize them. And also, if you need the flashcards for them, just go over to the description box and you can find the flashcards there. All right, so we are going to start with some common time vocabulary. Here's some common vocabulary used for time in Farsi. Again, you can find the link in the description box. I'm just gonna go read through them just for pronunciation purpose, so you become more familiar with them. So the first one, ساعت, روز, هفته, آخر هفته. Remember, there's an ezafe here. Ezafe is implied. We don't write that down, but you see it here only because we are practicing pronunciation. So I wanted for you guys to see that there is an ezafe there. But generally, we just don't write down ezafe. It's always implied. ماه, سال, صبح زود. Again, another ezafe here. صبح زود. دیر وقت. No ezafe here. دیر وقت. نصف شب اضافه here. وقت طلوع آفتاب غروب آفتاب. Now let's go over time of the days. So the first one, morning is صبح, and then afternoon is ظهر, and then in Farsi we also have بعد از ظهر. Zohr is like maybe between 12 to 1 p.m. and then after that it kind of falls into بعد از ظهر category. So between like 2 to 4 p.m. And then we have evening asr and night is shab. So one more time just for the pronunciation. صبح, ظهر, بعد از ظهر, asr, shab. And now another thing that you need to know is that in Persian we don't have AM and PM. For example, if you want to say 9 AM, then we need to say no, which is 9, no he صبح, and we need to add an ezafe after the number. So no he صبح. If you want to say, for example, 5 PM, then we need to say panj. The number panj is 5. Panj, and then we need ezafe, and then asr. So panje asr. So when you say panje asr, then I know that you're referring to PM, not morning. Or for example, if you want to say 10 PM, then dah shab, dah shab. A very common question that I get asked by my students is that what is noon and what is midnight in Farsi? So you need to know that in Farsi there's no like word like in English for noon and midnight. You just have to say something like 12 afternoon or 12 night. For example here, noon. So 12 is davazda. And then afternoon is zohr. So davazdae zohr. And we need to connect it with ezafe. Or for example for midnight, 12 شب. So if you put midnight in the dictionary online, it would give you something like nime shab. But just know nime shab and nesfe shab, it doesn't mean midnight. It means middle of the night. For example, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., like middle of the night. And the meaning of nime and nesf, it means half. So literally it's like saying half of the night or half of night, but it means middle of the night. For example, you want to say I woke up in the middle of the night, then we use either nime shab or nesfe shab. Although I have to say nime shab is a little bit formal, it's more used in the formal language, but in the spoken language we use nesfe shab. It's very commonly used. And also nime shab, when you hear it, it sounds like there's no ezafe, but grammatically, yes, there is an ezafe, like it's nime shab. But because we say it kind of fast, you don't really hear it. It's not pronounced like very specifically. So it's better to just memorize it as nime shab with no ezafe. But this one, make sure you add ezafe, nesfe shab. Another topic that is related to time is telling the time. But I decided not to cover this topic, like telling the time, in this lesson because then the lesson will get too long. So later on, I will create another lesson, and we will learn that separately in some other lessons. Once the lesson is ready, I will put a link in the description box to this lesson. Now let's go over days of the week as well. So days of the week in Farsi is روزهای هفته. Ruz means day, روزها days, hafte week, and this ye here is only to connect hafte to روزها for ezafe, which equals to off in English. So before that, you just need to know that days of the week in Iran starts from Saturday, meaning the day off is Friday. And in Iran, they only have one day off. And I think it's the only country, as far as I know, that only have one day off. I don't know if there's any other country that they only have one day off. If you know, please let me know in the comment section. All right, the days of the week, روزهای هفته, in Farsi, they're very easy. Just memorize شنبه, and then you need to know some numbers. So شنبه is Saturday, and then یک شنبه is Sunday, meaning یک and then شنبه. And then دو شنبه, Monday, number 2, دو, and then شنبه. Tuesday, سه شنبه, number 3, and then شنبه. Wednesday, چهار شنبه, number 4, and شنبه. Number 4 is a little bit tricky. The way we write it is kind of different than the way we pronounce it. It is written chehar, but when it comes to pronunciation, we pronounce it chahar. It's like we are adding like a subtle aleph here, like chahar. So it would be chahar shambe. And then this one, panj shambe, which is panj, number 5, and shambe. And then also memorize jum'e as well. So one more time, shambe, یک شنبه، دو شنبه، سه شنبه، چهار شنبه، پنج شنبه، جمعه. Now let's go over months and seasons. So ماه‌ها و فصل‌ها. And one thing you need to know is that in Iran, the Gregorian calendar is not used. You know, the Gregorian calendar is the calendar that is used in most of the world. But instead, the Hijri Khorshidi calendar is used, which we also call it Shamsi. And also in Iran, we have our own months too. You know, like in the Gregorian calendar, January, February, March, really those months are not used. And instead, the public, like the government, all the schools, they use the Persian months. All right, the other thing you need to know is that in Shamsi calendar, the first day of spring is the first day of the new year, and which usually it falls around mid-March. So let me go over the seasons first. بهار، تابستان، پاییز، زمستان. And now I'm going to go over the months. فروردین، اردیبهشت، خرداد، تیر، مرداد، شهریور، مهر، آبان، آذر، دی، بهمن، اسفند. Let me know in the comment section which month were you born. I was born in Mehr, ماه مهر. So let me know which month you were born. In one of the previous lessons, we have already learned how to say ago, last, and next in Farsi. But in case you don't remember or in case you missed it, here's a review. For example, we want to say two days ago. So here, دو روز پیش. دو روز پیش. Remember, no اضافه needed. No اضافه here, no اضافه here. The meaning, the literal meaning of پیش, it means before, but in this case, it means ago. So دو روز پیش. And then we can replace do with any other numbers, and we can replace also روز with any other time vocab. For example, we want to say two months ago. دو ماه پیش. 2 years ago. دو سال پیش. And then what if you want to say last Monday, for example? Then here is Monday, and then دوشنبه is Monday, and then again we use پیش. But in this case, we need to have اضافه. So دوشنبه یه پیش. So if you hear the sound یه, دوشنبه یه پیش, یه here is اضافه, because it ends in silent he, دوشنبه. So the pronunciation of اضافه becomes یه, دوشنبه یه پیش. And then we can replace دوشنبه with, for example, other time vocab like هفته پیش, not last week, سال پیش, or ماه پیش, last month. And then if you want to say next Monday, for example, then again دوشنبه, which is Monday, and then دیگر. The literal meaning of دیگر, it means other, but here it means next. So دوشنبه یه دیگر, and we need to have اضافه. And the pronunciation of دیگر in the spoken language is different. We say دیگه. So دیگر, دیگه. So in the spoken language, we say, for example, دوشنبه دیگه. Or let's replace it with other time vocab, like ماه دیگه, هفته دیگه. Let's learn a little bit more about times. So we want to ask questions that starts with how often. For example, how often do you work out? How often do you travel? Or how often do you see your family? So how do you ask that in Farsi? On the right side, you see a phrase, هر چند وقت یک بار. One more time, هر چند وقت یک بار. Har here is in a bracket because we don't have to say it specifically. We can also ask چند وقت یک بار. So what does it mean literally? It means how many time, one time. So چند here is how many, وقت is time, and then یک بار means one time. So how many time, one time? And then we need to have the question intonation. For example, how often do you work out? So to work out, it's ورزش کردن. So it's going to be هر چند وقت یک بار تو ورزش میکنی. One more time. Or we can also not say هر and be like چند وقت یک بار ورزش میکنی. To is also in a bracket because it's already implied in the conjugation. Let's say we want to answer once in a while. Then it will be هر از گاهی. هر از گاهی. گاهی means sometimes. And هر is like each. So it's like each of sometimes. It means once in a while. So now I want to give a more specific answer. Instead of saying like once in a while, I want to say twice a week or 3 times a year or once a day. So there's two ways that we can say these terms, these phrases in Farsi. Let's go over this column first. So we can, for example, I want to say twice a week. So it's like do bar dar hafte. So do is number 2. Bar, it means time, but not time in terms of like hours, time as a multiplier. And then dar is in, and then hafte is week. So literally it kind of is like 2 time in week. Do bar dar hafte. Now we want to say 3 times a year. So we just replace it with another number and another time vocab. So se bar dar sal. Se bar dar sal. Or what if we want to say once a day? Yek bar dar ruz. You can find the literal translations underneath that. Now another way to say it, back to twice a week. So we can also say hafte I do bar. I think this column is easier for the students. So hafte means again week, and hafte I, it means a week, because this I here stands for the indefinite ye, which stands for the e in English, the indefinite e. So hafte I do bar, it means a week. 2 times means twice a week. Sali se bar, sal year, and then sali 1 year, a year, and then se bar 3 times. So a year 3 times, it means 3 times a year. Or once a day, ruzi yek bar. So ruz, day, this e here stands for the indefinite a in English. So ruzi, and then yek bar. So a day, 1 time. Now let's go over each or every, which in Farsi is har. For example, we want to say every day, every week, every month. So har ruz, har hafte, har mah, har sal, har doshanbe. It also means each too. For example, each week is the same thing, har hafte, or each year, har sal. Now, how do we say, for example, like the whole day or the whole month or the whole year in Farsi? So in this situation, we can either use kolle, and remember there's like a tashdid on the letter lam. So what is this here? This is called alamat tashdid. Alamat means sign. So tashdid usually is implied. We usually don't write it down, but we still pronounce it. And how do we pronounce it? How is it pronounced? It's just you put a stress on the letter that tashdid is on it. For example, here, tashdid is on the letter lam. So it's going to be kolle, kolle. We don't say kolle, we say kolle. And then of course we need ezafe to connect to whatever comes after that. Or we can say tamame, which in the spoken language we say tamume. For example, here, kulle ruz. So remember, there's like an izafe here to connect kulle to ruz. Sorry, that was a very bad izafe. Let me try again. So kulle here, and then there's also an implied tashdid. So kulle ruz. Or we can also say tamam ruz, which we still need to have ezafe, tamam ruz. Or if you want to speak like colloquially, then tamum ruz. All right, let's go over the rest. And please note, tamam and tamum also applies to the rest of them, but I just decided to go with kol to keep it more simple. So kolle hafte, kolle mah, kolle sal, کل تعطیلات تعطیلات means holidays. The pronunciation is تعطیلات. تعطیلات. We reached the end of this lesson. I hope you guys found this lesson helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in another video.